Hey guys, it's Katie Inks, and today we are drawing a raccoon, hence my frequent raccoon eyes. Actually, my thought process for coming up with a raccoon today was a little bit random, so you can just see how weird my brain works. I actually thought about a tattoo that the former singer of Suicide Silence, Mitchy had, and he had this cute little raccoon tattoo, and for some reason that article about that tattoo was like burned in my memory for life. And then I also thought about, okay, well, I like raccoons. I always consider myself kind of a raccoon because I always look like one. I also thought about Miko from Pocahontas. Pocahontas was my favorite movie when I was growing up, my favorite Disney movie, and it totally makes sense. The main leading lady is the only tattooed female in a Disney movie, so yeah, I can see why I like that, even when I was that little. But more going into the piece, we are going to be using a little bit different materials. So today I am using mid-tone paper instead of my regular Bristol. And I think it gives a nicer effect when you're actually working with lighter tones and trying to get that depth. And then also, I just kind of want to let you know, I did struggle with this one. When I did my initial sketch, I had a really good idea. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out placement of the nose and how to shade it all out and get the right angle. I usually like to draw my animals at an angle, but it did take me a little bit to reconfigure it and just kind of the coloring of the raccoon. So I actually did this drawing twice, and you might see a little bit of a change in the stencil, but that just goes to show you, keep working at it. Sometimes you just need to draw it a couple times to get it to the right spot. Well, let's jump right in the video, and I'll see you on the next one. So here is my initial sketch of Mitchy the raccoon. I had so much fun coming up with this concept and figuring out the style. I really wanted to keep him all cartoony and have that cute round face and that big round belly. He's got a belly full of treats because he seems to be finding cookies. And yeah, you will definitely see after I finish tracing the initial outline on the back that his face will look a little different. Like I said before in the intro, that I messed up on this drawing twice. I couldn't either get the mouth right, or I couldn't get actually where the dark patches around his eyes were supposed to go. So you will see that change up once I get this on the mid-tone paper. But I'm really, really happy with how it all came out, and definitely taking another look at it and taking maybe another stab or two at it. It's really worth it. I had so much fun drawing him. And yeah, just transferring over to my mid-tone paper. So the reason why I did mid-tone paper in the first place was because I really wanted to get those brighter tones on the paper. I wanted that to be to pop out a lot more. Usually when you change up the tone of the background, it really helps get those really, really bright tones, like the whites in his face and on his tail. I really wanted that pop. When you are working with mid-tone paper, it is so hard to get an impression or to get that little stencil over. It is texture paper for one thing. It's also a lot thicker paper. And then if I wanted to use my light box on this, you could not see through that paper at all. But it is a great material to work with. I absolutely love using it. I am very protective of my pieces that are in my sketchbook or in my mid-tone sketchbook. I actually keep them in there until I do sell them, because it's just a great, I don't know, it's just a good little spot to have it. And then one of the other reasons why I wanted to use mid-tone paper was to make these brown tones and these darker tones show up a little bit better. And actually you get that nice full saturation, and you get to use the mid-tone paper literally as a mid-tone. So I'm now starting out my coloring on the face. I really wanted to make sure I got the coloring of the face done first on purpose. I'm like, no, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I know my plan. I have my reference photo to look at. And I was just like, nope, let me get the face done first. I'm not gonna mess up again. And now just working on getting that initial gray tone for the rest of the belly, or the whole body. We're gonna keep his belly nice and warm toned. But yeah, this one too, with a mid-tone paper, you do have to build up the layers a lot more. So you will see me over blending and overworking this a lot, but in the end, you know, it pops. It really does pop. And especially with his actual gray furs, like I wanted to keep it like very fluffy and furry. It took several different colors. Like I did use a really dark warm gray. I used a brown, actually 2 or 3 browns. And at the end I did add little bits of white in there because he does have like little specks of white hairs in there. But it was so much fun to build it up. And then also with this piece, I only used a marker, an ink marker, for 2 parts. I used it for the inside of the ears and the actual irises and the eyes. And I really just didn't want a whole lot of work to do on the inside of the ears because it's such a dense color when you actually look at pictures of raccoons. So I'm like, no, don't need to add all those extra tones. I mean, he is going to be very dimensional with the white highlights on the ears, so I thought that would work. And now just working on his belly and about to start working on his feet too. And the feet, that was a little challenge trying to figure out how I wanted the feet to look, but I'm really happy with the brown tones and getting those little pops of pink and getting that little pink on the tongue. And yeah, just right now I'm mapping out the tail. And the tail, I really wanted to keep it really fluffy, really fluffy. So I keep sharpening that pencil to make it look like little hairs. I sharpened my pencil like so many times so it'd be nice and pointy and get all those nice little hairs. And I used the black parts of the stripes. I used browns. I did use a warm gray in there too and beiges, but I really just wanted to make sure it had that dimension, had those highlights. And then for the white parts of the tail, I used a mixture of 20% warm gray and 20% cool gray. And of course I used white afterwards to make it very much pop. Now I'm just working on those little discarded apple cores and the banana peel and the little ball of aluminum foil. I think he's so cute. He's setting up his little picnic. He's like, I got my little picnic blanket, but it happens to be a newspaper and cover box. But again, another awesome thing about mid-tone paper is when you use those bright colors, that bright yellow and even a little bit of that blue, it just pops so good on that paper. It's so awesome. And I had so much fun building up this little cardboard box. I used like 4 or 5 different browns and added a lot of yellow to keep it warm. And it just started blending, and then I was like, okay, it's almost there. It's almost there. And started adding little lines so you could tell, hey, it's a cardboard box. And actually bringing some of those tones back into the belly too, and just kind of unifying the piece a little bit more. Oh, and of course he found his cookie. So the cookie is definitely inspired by Miko from Pocahontas, because he always loved his little cookies, and oh, I just love Miko. So I thought it'd be kind of a cute concept. So he finds the one sweet treat among all the garbage. He's like, oh yeah, I'm having a good day. And right now I'm just working on those eyes. And at first I wanted it to be kind of like just a really soft green and brown colors, but kind of hazily. I didn't want to keep it just brown. I was like, no, let's add some more warmer tones and, you know, still make it a little cartoony too. So add a little bit of green so he's got hazel eyes. And yeah, and now just working on the whites of the eyes and getting all those little touches in. When I was drawing his little snout on his nose, I made it into a little heart shape, which I thought that was a cute little touch. And again, just building up the line weights and just finishing up and cleaning up those outlines too. Oh, he just is coming together, looking all cute. And of course, gotta make sure the eyeshadows looks good. And the last thing I added here was some bugs. I thought, you know, he just needed a little something in the background, and since he's hanging out in the garbage, I figured he could have little bug friends around. Oh, I'm so happy with how he came out. He's so cute and enjoying his picnic. Mitchy.